I love that Taylor didn't bring his mic stand, so he's just gonna iron hand it for the next few hours.
Oh, that's what it's going to have to be. It's going to have to be, what's the deal with forgetting your mic stand at home?
I thought you didn't have one. I thought you were literally saving like $7 by holding your mic for 4 hours.
No, this is the second trip that I have this second Shure SM58, whatever it is. And I have the second everything. And this is of the 2 times I've brought it on a trip to use for remote PKA, I have forgotten the stand. Nice. Because I didn't buy a stand with this one because I still had that old ancient stand from my old SM58 that I used to use years and years ago. But, it's okay. Worse things have happened. How are you guys doing? I'm sunburned.
I'm all good. I don't know why you don't bring the whole thing. I just packed the whole thing up. Like, this thing folds up and it's all skinny. So you just throw that in like the corner of a suitcase, and it literally takes up less space than like 6 pairs of socks laid out flat, because it's what is it? A 1/4 inch thick. So you've got a 1/4 inch like bar laying in there that weighs nothing. And I wrap it up.
You're preaching to the choir. I realized after bringing this setup that this is only convenient if I flew there, because I don't like checking a big thing.
Oh, you don't check a bag?
No, I rarely check the bag when I fly.
I'm all about.
But we drove, and so I could have thrown my whole fucking office in there and made my way. So that was pretty stupid. I'm realizing now at this moment, but that's okay.
Yeah. Think of it as like some sort of isometric workout, just right here all night.
Yeah, I'm in Myrtle Beach. I'm in Wings neck of the woods.
Dude, go now. Go over there right now.
I don't know where he is in this area.
I got his address.
Well, I believe you.
You got a microphone. You should show up and interview him.
Show up and interview him? No, I would never fucking show up at someone's house.
No, that'd be
so shitty.
No, but
you could gay hypnotise him.
Oh, sissy
like
hypno.
Sissy hypno. Yeah.
Sissy hypno, that's what it is. Sissy hypno.
I've never heard that term before.
But it's a bit where like I like start off like I'm gonna sissy hypno him, but like by the end he's having to like push me off of his dick because I've sissy hypno because he holds up a mirror and I sissy hypno myself. And
that's how that
works. Either way, keep that forearm strong.
That is the greatest bit.
It's like Looney Tunes style. Hypnotizing works. Yeah,
we're creeping up on episode 600. What are we gonna do? We should start.
Is this gonna be
why would
the
we
biggest one yet?
I don't know why we would do anything like
because it's divisible by 100 and people are like cruel if we don't.
Who are these people?
Love 150 numbers.
I don't know who these people are. Do they have like a fan club or something somewhere where they're like, so the boys are going to do something at the 600th episode, right? Because I'll kill myself if they don't. Like, where are these people?
No, we're gonna.
I don't think
600 will be horrible. 603 will be tremendous.
603 is the one.
Yeah, we're just gonna pick random ones.
We should do that. We should just 600. Let's just be as disappointing as fuck. 603 drinking episode.
Episode 607 revolving door of celebrities and people. Like, what's the occasion? 607, dumbass. Like, obviously, I had a kid, like a friend of mine, who like genuinely scared me when I was like 13 or so, because I went over to his house and he was like talking about how cool it was to take a ton of styrofoam cups that his mom had and melt it in this acetate and then like make napalm. He was very into the military. He ended up joining the Marines later in his life. And I remember like even like being like an immature like 12, 13-year-old being like, there's no way we should be doing this. Like this is scary, man. Like let's just throw M80s at birds. You know, we're not going to hit them, so there's no guilt. It'll just pop. Like you'll throw it at it. It'll miss and land and then pop and the bird will fly away.
So what was he doing? He was just dissolving the styrofoam and the gas.
He was dissolving it in the acetate, and then it was like a sludgy mixture. And then he wanted to do something with it, and I was like, I'm let's just play something else. And so I did not engage with whatever that ended up being.
I want that guy on the show. Like where's he at these days?
He's still a very close friend of mine. I could talk to him for you.
Oh, he died in a car accident last year, 140 miles per hour. Yeah, he was on fire when he did it.
No, one of my closest friends to this day. Shout out Tim. How you doing, bud?
Shout out Tim. Yeah, nothing like making a little napalm in your younger years.
Tim
no, that's just fun to play with.
No, he's a fun guy.
I was always doing stuff like that, like starting little fires. I discovered quickly that you could take primers and shoot them with a slingshot, and they would explode on impact, like a big explosion.
Oh, that's fun.
Yeah, and I had tons of them because primers are the thing that go in the back of a shotgun shell. It's what the primer hits and the firing pin hits, and it's what initiates the bang. So it's an impact-sensitive little explosion. So you could just shoot them with the slingshot at a brick wall, and the big pop. It was a lot of fun.
I know you and I and Woody to an extent did stuff like that. Filthy, what were your go-to childhood activities? Were you a kid like me that just like every day after school you went into the woods and like played with friends?
Fires.
We did a lot I'm trying to think of it depends on the age group, but we did a lot with like water balloon stuff. So we had like I had a 3-man slingshot for water balloons that we
one person on each side.
Yeah, you had to like brace. As little kids, you had to full on brace, and you get one person to pull it back, and it stretched like 6 foot back and launch them like half a block kind of deal. And we would shoot them into. We cracked a friend's house like paneling with water balloons from the street kind of deal. So this was like middle school, right? And they were like it was some game like you had to like assassination or something, right? A lot of that kind of stuff. So a lot of running around town on bikes with slingshots and water guns and stuff.
Did you ever egg houses?
Didn't do egging too much.
Yeah, I did. I didn't like indiscriminate egging. I felt like that was
needs to be
real
tactical.
shitty because you're getting people that like maybe it's old people who can't really properly clean their home. I always thought that was real shitty. I remember like I knew some guys who like threw tomatoes at an old person's house and they got caught and they made them clean it up. And I was like, yeah,
good.
Even at like 16, I was like, yeah, why are you fucking throwing tomatoes at old people's homes? Like why don't you come with us and throw them at Dusty's house? That's the cool shit. And
harass your friends, not some innocent.
No, it was someone we didn't like. It was not a friend.
Oh, harass your enemies.
I lived across from 18th hole.
That guy's dead. He killed himself
for a little bit of time during that same time period. And we could do it behind my house. We could launch a water balloon from behind my house over the house onto the 18th hole. And we'd do that occasionally, which was a lot of fun.
How far of a distance was that? Was it like two of you like arms like struggling to hold it out while the other guy pulls back?
Yeah, absolutely. But like, actually, it couldn't have been I lived across from that. I don't remember where we shot it from. We wouldn't have been as stupid to do it directly from the back of my house. But it was that idea. Arc it over the house where they couldn't see you and try to hit golfers with water balloons. So
we would do stuff like that with I know exactly the launcher you're talking about because like we had and the people we had used. So at the time I was like 15 and we had a pool at our house at the time with a diving board, and it wasn't like a super long pool or anything. And we thought like a fun game because we had been throwing water balloons at people who would jump off the diving board and we'd try and hit them before they got into the pool and pop it. And they would try and jump in, but not just to dive. You'd have to go up and like dodge it and everything. And we were like, oh, let's use the launcher. And so we stood at the base of this pool. And we had also figured out that if you only put like a third of the amount of water in the balloon, it went so goddamn fast. And so like we smoked a friend of mine in the back that it looked like he got hit with like a beanbag gun from a police officer because we had me and the third biggest guy in our group as the two holders because we were the most solid, and then we had the fattest member of our friend group, Michael, do the pullback because we were 15. That kid was like probably 320 at the time, and so he went full back, and he was not a great shot. He nailed that one guy in the back, got a huge bruise. We all got a laugh out of it. And the next shot, I think he got overconfident, and he shot too low. And so you know how liners and pools are. If it's a liner pool, it's like this kind of soft, pushy thing on the side. It's not like a tile pool. He shot this little water balloon so hard, it missed him, the person he was shooting at entirely, went under the diving board and slammed into the liner, and it split the entire liner of the pool. It was such a big thing. It sounded like a lightning crack and went pop. And then like I was like immediately like, oh no, and I like ran over there and checked. Like an enormously expensive problem has appeared, and I have to like then like amp up the courage to be like, okay, how am I going to talk to my dad later? How'd you break the liner of the pool, Taylor? Well, we were shooting. No, I can't leave like that.
Doesn't the water get behind
throwing,
the liner?
That's
what
not
happens to the ground? What happens to the like? Now you have the liner's not supposed to leak. What happens?
So the liner split. So there's still concrete behind the liner and everything. It's just the liner with the foam to like make it more comfortable to walk on and push off of. But yeah, it split that probably a couple feet.
That's all the liner does, make it comfortable to walk on. I thought it was part of the waterproofing of the pool.
Well, that too.
It is part of the like. It's not going to drain your pool, but like if we would have left that just hang out and open, it would have like let water back behind there and get in it. But thankfully, it hit at that top area and split it laterally, and so we were able to like tape it and kind of get it fixed up a little bit.
The water line.
Barely. Well, I guarantee some water got in there.
My dad was my dad
it was above the water line after it drained. I'm sorry, Kyle.
Yeah, and for my dad did not get as mad at me as I thought I would. That was one of those where I was just like, damn, made out like a bandit. Gonna do this again.
My dad was playing a risky game of fetch using a beer bottle with the dog, and I guess like he's throwing it into the pool, and the dog's like grabbing it back and like jumping in the pool. And one time he threw it too far and hit the other end of the pool. The beer bottle shatters, of course, and then I think they got most of the glass up, but then when they went, the automatic pool cleaner thing has like glass between it and the floor of the pool, so it's just ruining the whole bottom of the pool overnight, like just ruins it. And so he just got that completely replaced. They had to completely drain the pool, tear the old liner out, put the new liner in, and fill it again. I don't know how you guys fill pools, but like we always called a fire truck to like come and immediate like do it in one big thing.
We just did a hose and it took days.
You can do
truck? No, you just call them. They'll bring you a load of water.
You requisition fire truck?
What? You can do that? Never heard of that in my life.
I mean, what you think? There's fires all day that they need to be putting out. They'll come for anything. You got a cat in the tree. You got they're happy to.
I'm gonna call the fire department and be like, "Hey guys, my pool's a little low." So
offer them $50. They'll be right there.
Get out.
Hi firefighters.
That's too low.
I don't. Maybe you don't have cool ass firefighters like you do here. Maybe that's a problem. But
we had
here, they fucking show up, and I remember like the first one time they did it, and they dumped this. I don't know how many gallons it is. Call it 20,000 gallons of like rusty water into the pool. And he's like, "No, good. You got to take that back and bring me some good water." And I think they actually did. I think they took it back and brought him good water. Yeah.
Your family's just wasting public dollars. Just
it's water. I don't look. Maybe water is
sometimes I call the police department just because I'm lonely.
Do you remember 900 numbers? I know Woody does, but like, do you remember 900 numbers? Because you and I are on the cusp of when they like stopped being a thing.
I've never used one.
I have. When I was a kid, somehow we found one, and we would call it whenever we were at a payphone or any kind of phone that wasn't ours. And just to hear like, "You've called sexy Britney's fuck line. What do you want to get into today, big boy?" And we just laugh at that, or we press 1 and be like, "All right, now put your credit card in," or whatever it says. But yeah, people today may not know, especially some of our listeners. There used to be these numbers. I think there were 976 at first, and then they ran out of like 976 numbers, and it became 900 numbers. And this shit was $2 to $3 a minute, or even more in some cases, to like talk to someone. And it could be anything. Usually it was a girl who wanted to talk dirty to you. She didn't want to. She was getting paid to do it.
Yeah.
I guess it's all women. And she would talk dirty. She'd talk dirty to you for $2 or $3 a minute, and they were charging your fucking phone bill the whole time. And it was a real fucking problem for some people, like an addiction. But there were other ones too. Like you could call.
Boring addiction.
There was a Nintendo line you could call if you were having a hard time. If you were stuck in a Nintendo game, you're like, "Dude, I'm on World 8-7 and Mario is just not getting over this hill." They're like, "Oh yeah, there's a secret mushroom you've got to." Like there was a guy on the other end of the line who would walk you through that shit. Who were like, and those guys were experts. Like, don't imagine that they hired like anybody to do that job. These people who had this job,
they went full out reputable for the 900 numbers.
They were quizzed. No, I'm not even kidding. Well, this 900 number went to Nintendo. And these Nintendo experts were.
Do you want to fuck Peach? Or maybe Mario's more your style. We don't judge here at Nintendo. Who you want?
They had all the right lore, really get you into that experience.
Is the princess always in the other castle?
How about Bowser's
not at
barbed penis?
Not at 900 cunt.
1-800-anal. 1-800-anal is probably a proctologist.
1-800-hot anal would be a thing. You need more digits.
Man. Yeah.
Oh, the ass man.
Yeah, I am the ass man.
No, I'm glad.
Do you remember like
people
you're talking about
the OnlyFans now?
The 900 numbers, like the Nintendo thing made me think of, like, you're a little older than me. I know you didn't get into like Pokemon as much, but you probably had a Game Boy and you probably had a Game Shark.
Yes.
And I remember like like being at the store, like 7 years old. And if you don't know, a Game Shark is something you would use to plug into your Game Boy, and then you would plug the game into the Game Shark, and it enabled a lot of cheats. And I remember like thinking that
I had
like,
the
Nintendo
Game
didn't
Genie.
want these on the streets.
I had the Game Genie, and the Game Genie went to the Sega system. So I had, or maybe it went to Nintendo. One way or the other. I had the Game Genie, and it went with one of my main systems, and you could go in, and it was like mods. It was like mods from 1991 for a video game, and you could be like, yeah, I want infinite lives because I'm fucking 6 and I suck at Mario. Let's go.
Well, you were probably smarter than I was, like, regarding that, because I really thought when I like got those books that said like, this is how you do the rare candy cheat in Pokemon Red, or a Game Shark, and like looking up the guides, like how to do this and that in the little pamphlet. I remember like thinking, like thanking my lucky stars that like I got in and got a Game Shark before Nintendo swooped in and pulled these things off for ruining their games. And these cheat books, thank God I got one of those before they shut that down. Like just a little fucking 6-year-old fool, just not getting that they don't care. You already bought the game, idiot.
I want a little taste of nostalgia. Zach, will you show us an image of a Game Genie? Because here's what I remember, and I haven't seen this shit since I was 6, but there's an actual genie on the box. I think he's got his arms crossed. He's bald, and I think his head is bowed, maybe. And it says Game Genie. I think it was for the Sega. And,
sounds very familiar.
I think their whole thing was you only got 3 cheats because it's a genie. So you can't just enable all the cheats. You pick 3. Oh yeah, there. Okay, see the red man up there? Okay, I'm pretty far off. Okay, his arms are not crossed. He is not bowed.
He's got.
He is bald. He is bald though.
Yeah,
maybe. I had that. That was awesome. I can't remember. I can't believe. That's so cool to see that shit. I haven't seen it. The book and everything. Like you needed the book, or you couldn't do the cheats.
Yeah, yeah. There was no way to look it up. It was just like, what cheats can I do? Well, let me check the Game Shark manual and turn to Pokemon Red. And
that's one thing we forget, that like, man, manuals were so valuable back then, because if you lost it, it's like, what the fuck are you going to do? How are you going to get another like instructional manual for whatever this thing is? There was no like, just pull the PDF on your phone.
And they didn't come with used games like they should have. Or sometimes GameStop would like photocopy a manual and put a shitty version in the used game. Have you guys seen that? It's like, no, a manual's supposed to be cool. It's supposed to be like part of the product you're getting.
That was my favorite part when I would rent games for like those old systems. There was that little booklet, that little manual that would come with it, and I loved reading that little bit of lore in there. Like why does this turtle need to get to the other side? I need to know. That's important to me. And every now and then it wouldn't be in there, and it'd be so shitty.
I remember one of those when I was real little for MechWarrior 2, right? And they had done it in the margins for the manual. Like someone had like written notes, and it was supposed to be the commander writing notes. And as a little kid, I was young enough when I first got that game that I didn't know that it wasn't real. So I thought someone, because we had bought it like used somewhere, I thought it's like someone had written in like these notes to how to like get good at the game and like the rest of it. Because exactly that experience. Because when you're a little kid doing it, it's part of the immersion of buying that game. Yeah, I remember that.
It was fun.
It's been a while since manuals have been a thing. It's been a while since boxed games were a thing. You remember when you didn't just buy everything off Steam?
Yeah.
I remember like it took me.
I remember hating that idea.
I played Pokemon Red as a 7-year-old 4 times through, quitting and restarting the game every time because I didn't know that you could re-heal your Pokemon at the Pokemon Center. And so I was just like losing all my money to potions and being like, this game's hard as shit. And then like a friend was like, you can go in there and heal. And I'm like, oh, revolutionize the game for me. And like, but that's how it used to be, is like, there wasn't an explicit direction on what to do. In the Pokemon Red, there was no way to get past a certain point unless you guessed and talked to a fisherman in Vermilion City, and he said, would you like me to tell you a tale of how to catch Pokemon? And then you had to say yes, and he would take you on a guide to catch a Weedle, and if you never did that, the game would let you go 10 hours ahead of that with like very little fast travel available. And then if you got to the wall, they'd be like, did you talk to the fisherman? Like they didn't even like bring it up that you had to like have a friend tell you, oh, you didn't do this, you got to go talk to that fucking weirdo in the very beginning. Vercillion City, whatever the first one is. Man, I want to replay Pokemon Red. What a great game.
I feel like it breaks some games too. Like, I know you're a Magic fan, Taylor. I think the internet has kind of killed a large portion of that, right? Everything is a net deck if you're going to be competitive, and they're going to change super fast because it's suddenly so many more eyes, so many more iterations of that deck being played, so much more development of that theme of that deck to bring it down to the few that are competitive for each set. And I think I think it's funny because it feels like there should be almost no downside to having this become these global phenomena, these mass events, but it does. It takes away some of the limited things you could do.
I had a thought. If I could somehow infuse my dick with nicotine, could I make a woman addicted to sucking my dick? Would she have withdrawals if she didn't suck my dick often enough?
And she also didn't have access to cigarettes or
she doesn't know there's nicotine on the dick. She thinks the dick sucking is what she's addicted to.
So you've gone with mind control of like sex fantasy via nicotine on your penis.
Yes.
Don't judge me.
I think if you're drugging women for sex, then we've taken a real dark turn.
It's the mono black.
I didn't expect you to be against me on this.
No, I was going to say that he didn't go far enough because his like the nicotine request. You know what happens when someone withdraws from nicotine? They get cranky and they're short with you. You slather a bunch of heroin all over your dick. She's going to be shaken to blow you. She's going to be visibly with a fever and shaking. Like, I don't know I just need your dick. And you're like, I don't know what it could be. Let me just go to the bathroom with this paintbrush real quick.
Peanut butter.
What's that container of black tar looking shit you're painting all over your penis? Shut up! Don't you want your fix?
Oh, that would you'd have to inject. You'd have to inject the heroin into your penis.
Now you're addicted to heroin, the ultimate self-play.
No. Put it in your seminal fluid. And
yeah, it's going in. No. It requires sounding. We're going right into the hole.
Lock and Load V2 now with heroin. Don't take more than recommended.
So coat your dick with heroin. Get her addicted to sucking it. And this is the secret to a happy marriage. You heard it here.
Yeah.
This makes even less sense than my idea to make zombies by infecting the homeless with rabies.
I don't see how that doesn't make sense.
Exactly.
Yeah. Oh. Yeah. Okay, then fair enough. Okay, checkmate there.
No, I really think that that's the way to do it, and I think that I'm hopeful that it happens. I think that solves the boredom situation that I've got going on, and it solves the homeless situation the rest of you people have going on.
Well, the homeless problem is all of ours. Anyone can be attacked.
They don't bother me a bit. They tried to sell me some bottles of water the other day without labels on them at an intersection, and I was like, "Who's buying these sketchy ass plastic bottles of water? They're not even cold." Like, who's buying? I mean, I gave
didn't want a hot bottle of water from a homeless guy with no label.
Jesus Christ! Doesn't that cause cancer or something? Like when they leave those bottles of water in the sun all day. I think that does something to the plastic and it seeps into the water.
It makes it taste like plastic. I'll tell you that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember. I think on some military board I was on, they someone said something like, "Oh, I read how like leaving plastic water bottles in the sun causes some chemical to leach in, and that's carcinogenic." And then he was like thinking back to his time in Iraq, where they had these pallets of bottles of water just sitting in the sun for weeks and weeks at a time. Like, yeah,
in Iraq where they burnt all the shit too. Like they had
the burn pits,
disposal fires. Yeah, that shit's gotta be so fucking bad. So bad for so many people.
Oh, so much of it is.
Yeah, you get the idea. I mean, obviously it's a fucking war to some degree, so there's going to be other priorities. But it does seem like there are some corners cut with some of the decision making there.
Yeah, yeah. I'm sure they don't burn all those noxious materials in burn pits anymore. I like that that warthog that everybody freaks out about. I'm pretty sure that's one of the weapon systems that shoots those depleted uranium rounds, and they're just like radiating the ground below at RPMs. That's an awesome piece of machinery. That's so fun.
It doesn't seem like many of these machines have a real like cost benefit analysis built into them. We're firing spent uranium bullets.
It's real cheap. I watched a thing. Something about the depleted uranium was cheap. I thought the same thing. I was like, oh, those must be precious bullets. Like in a video game, I'd keep those until we saw the big guy. You know, but I was watching something. They were talking about how they irradiate areas, but then they got to like the cost of them, and it was like, oh, what? All right, light them up. That's not. Don't shoot them over here. We'll be fine. Just keep shooting them in those desert countries. They didn't seem that expensive though.
Surprises me. Well, I still think there's
now.
generally something to be said for the fact that we spend a lot on the military.
Do we?
Yes, more than the next 10 countries combined. I also wonder how much of that you would think that would mean that if we took on the next 10 countries, we'd win. I don't think that's what it really means.
I do.
I think it means that every soldier leaves claiming some level of disability and gets paid for the rest of their life. I think that, you know, I don't know, medical benefits and other fringe benefits, the
all
barracks.
That's true. But it's still, but we're still like outspending everyone by enormous leaps and bounds of monies more, like just enormously more. I mean, you see, like Russia's supposed to be one of the more impressive militaries in the world, and they're really looking like a paper tiger over there. They're looking foolish. They are looking foolish. That's the best word to put. And I don't know, like you've seen, we've been able to see the United States conduct its version of warfare for the last 20 years or so.
Mm-hmm.
It's mostly W's, and there's not a lot of embarrassing moments. There's those times where it's like, oh no, we lost a battle and all of our guys died. It's like, yeah, but we went back and killed them all.
Yeah. I want to say America rarely loses battles. We sometimes lose wars, right?
That's a political decision. Yeah.
Yeah. But if you just have a battlefield you want to own, America's good at that.
We're real good at that. I really do think that we are better than, like, I don't know, maybe not the next 10 countries, but I don't know, pick 10 European countries, you know, it would be just conquer all of those. I feel like, I think just the amount of material and manpower, and what it really seems to come down is who's motivated, though, right? Like if you were to sick America's army on France, they'd be like, no, what are we doing? And the French would be like, what are you doing? But like, if you had a real enemy to fight, like America, right? It's what we are good at. We've got a lot of embarrassments here. We failed at a lot of things, but we're good at that.
And breaking shit.
Right?
If you want to win a
hand
war,
in hand.
We had the political will.
Oh, he's a good fighter, and he's great at punching people. I feel like they're the same thing.
No, I'm saying winning a war is like occupying a territory. That's tricky.
Okay.
Breaking your shit. Oh, we're outstanding at that. If you want to ruin a city, call us.
We might be the best at occupying territory too. Like if you look at our bases around the world and look at what we did to Japan, I feel like that's a great example. Like was it MacArthur that was the leader of Japan during that whole restructuring period for a couple of years? Like one of those, we just gave Japan to a U.S. general or admiral or whatever for years, and I want to say the word was like, you need to figure out what you want to do with the emperor, sir. Like, arrest him and execute him or let him do his thing, but that's a you decision. It's like and that all worked out somehow. I mean, they're kind of weird now. They're not the same. They're altered by the whole process. I don't think the Japanese would be nearly as weird with the tentacle porn and
if they hadn't been so cucked by the Uncle Sam.
Uncle Sam turned them into hentai loving femboys. Like our boy who's over there in the military is always talking about how him as I don't know, a taller than 5'6" white guy who's good looking and has muscles and tattoos is fuck, I don't know, Don Juan over there, because most of the Japanese men, he says, are not really into the dating scene, and obviously he is, so he's just I don't know, doing real well over there apparently. They don't allow my kind over there. No felons in Japan. They're very serious about that.
It's a weird thing about this generation.
Let's get you in. Come on.
Smuggle me?
Lack of interest in the dating scene.
Could you smuggle me into Japan?
Smuggle you in. You're not wearing anything noticeable other than those really horrible 1930s Asian eye sunglasses. It's the only thing you're wearing.
Oh, I'm returning to my homeland. Is that going to be my bit? I got the glasses and teeth.
You got fake buck teeth in.
My homeland.
Who would voluntarily walk around like this? I believe
let me in.
Dude, speaking of alcohol, I tried something new here. These High Noon. You know how I switched to the Spindrift?
Dude, I love High Noons.
Yeah, so Spindrift seltzer, unlike LaCroix, it's the sparkling water, but it's got lemon juice in it, not just the essence of what you could believe to be lemon flavor. So it tastes like lemon juice and water, sparkling, very good. High Noon is the same thing. So White Claw tastes kind of not great, but High Noon is just the same thing, but it's vodka with Spindrift in it. So like lemon water plus vodka instead of like what is it called? Malt liquor for seltzers, right? Filthy. Mm-hmm. And so like malt liquor doesn't make you feel as good, and this other stuff is better. It's not as alcoholic. It's basically like a Bud Light, but I've been drinking those by the beach. It's been great. Those are awesome. I thought you were more of a liquor guy than a light bitch boy drink like I am.
Discriminate when it comes to this. Like I have my favorites, but like I'm not restricted to one.
Anything
domain.
to get the shakes to go away. Am I right?
Gotta wake up and do something, and sometimes it's a high noon. So
yeah,
no, I like it because they're good for the low carb stuff too. So like I like beers, and I'm happy to do liquor, and I'm happy to do wine. But like high noon's a nice like afternoon kind of like by the pool kind of drink. So
for sure, very light.
Yeah,
that by far is the biggest advantage that weed has over alcohol is the calories.
Yeah, for sure. Well, not the only advantage.
Well, but you can eat yourself into a hole. I do that a lot.
It doesn't really make me hungry. Like if I get like occasionally it will, but like most of the time not. Like I not really at all.
I ate so much crab the other night that I was sitting at the beach with my wife the next day. It's a windy day on the beach, and like I was gassy. And I like farted, and it was like the kind that comes out hot.
Oh,
like you can tell that there's substance to it. There's a thickness in the air, and
so,
like, she like turned to me because like she was downwind a little bit, and she was like, "Is that the sea? That's you, isn't it? It's you." And I was like, "Yeah, that was."
I'd be like, "No, there's a beached whale just down the way."
I farted in the room like that morning because I had eaten, a few pounds, a reasonable amount of crab.
A reasonable amount.
And she was like, she like took off the blankets when I woke up, and like it just released. and she was like, "Oh my God, it's thick. It's thick in the air. Like it's got staying power." Like, I'm so sorry. Like I don't know. I didn't have a notebook to write down things to talk about on the show, and so I tore out pages at the end of the Book of Mormon, and they're empty.
Those were for taking notes about what you'd learned.
Well, I did overestimate how many notes I'd be taking because I've got 3 more sheets of Mormon pages.
That's what's cover.
I was gonna do it for the Bible, but I was like, let's play it safe.
Let's play it safe.
Yeah, let's not fuck with the one that's more likely to be real.
You presume to know.
Yeah. If Mormonism definitely. Or if it's between two, the Bible or Mormonism, it's clear the Bible that's true. It's not between those two, but if you're using those as your only 2 picks, as what is provided,
one is clearly derivative of the other.
Yeah, the Mormon story was literally just a criminal riding through life by the seat of his pants.
He's a scam artist. Like all
and his name
out there. You need
was
to wake
Jesus
up.
Christ.
The Lord Almighty and Jesus.
Oh, I caught a little bit like of interesting. I like the lore and stuff like from those nerdy YouTube videos about various like sci-fi and fantasy shows, and they translated what the alien is telling them in Covenant at the end. In this alternate scene, and I guess their whole bit was, if you remember, they had like seeded life on Earth. There's that scene where like the big white muscled up guy melts himself into the waterfall and like seeds Earth with the genetic material to like form life. And then, but he tells them, he's like, "You guys are awful. Like we came and picked one of you up 2,000 years ago, and we taught him all sorts of like wonderful things, and we sent him back to you, and you killed him." And it's like, oh, they're claiming Jesus. That's pretty cool. Like they literally like claim Jesus as like, and it made so much sense. And like, I like stuff like that where they sort of weave theology and real stuff in with their sci-fi bullshit. So that made me like that movie a lot more because I didn't like it as much previously. Like the fact that they kind of, I don't know, sewed everything together with the creation story.
Yeah, the Bible's got fun lore to it.
But Jesus didn't come back with really cool knowledge. He wasn't like, guys, here's how you make a 9-volt battery.
Well, they didn't need that.
Here's how you prime the gasoline. Let me teach you about the steam engine, right?
Well,
he didn't have cool shit.
About that yet.
When I dream of going back in time with all the answers, it's never morality.
Why is God limited by the technology of the time? I don't know. Fuck you. That seems to be the answer. I don't know. But if you keep going down this line of thought, you're going to hell. Yeah. No, it was, I mean, but Jesus had other cool powers.
Yeah.
Like I liked to imagine like multiplying the fishes and the loaves. That could have been. I liked to think about like how could the Lord have been used in battle? Like he could have multiplied soldiers.
Remember when they blew the horns though, and like the walls of Jericho fell? Like maybe.
Yes,
like
that was way before Jesus.
But why weren't there more powers like that? Is what I'm saying. I like when there's displays of power in the Bible. Like when they sent those angels to go burn Sodom and Gomorrah. That was tight.
That was good. That was a classic tale. I like that one.
If you wanted to win a war, inflicting a plague might be a good idea.
Yeah.
God wants immediate results. He wants to get shit done right now.
No, God notoriously is a showman. That's why he made 10 of those fucking plagues. He could have done AIDS right away. Guess what? AIDS. And then the Pharaoh would be like, "Oh my God, this got real." Like, just everybody get the hell out of here. I got the flu. And I think it's going to stay forever. But like, yeah, he fucked around with frogs and gnats.
I can't believe
turned the water to blood and then quickly turned it back. Stick by your guns, God.
Did everyone see it turn into blood, or is it just a story? Like, oh, I did it while you were looking.
The important parties.
The main characters saw it.
Yeah. Not like some shepherd boy.
They have plot armor.
They do have plot armor. You know who didn't have plot armor? Jesus. Until the end.
He came back. He literally came back like Jon Snow. He had the ultimate plot armor. He came back and like had dinner with his homies and then floated into the sky. And I'll tell you what, that timeline has always been so goddamn fuzzy. Forgive me, Lord, that I can't believe a word of it. Because it's like, wait, he rose, and then like in the movie that I was shown as a child, an actual movie with actors, like live action, not one of those animated tales. No. Like I never watched that. That's too much for me. I don't need to see torture. And that like get the fuck out of here. But in the little movie we were shown, maybe it was called The Bible or Jesus, probably something simple like that. But like he like wheels that stone to the side, and he comes out of there, and he's Jesus the White. He's in his white robes, and he goes and like meets with his his boys, and they have like dinner, and break the bread and drink the wine, and then they like an indeterminate amount of time passes. Like I don't know, was it a day? Was it a week? Was he up and walking around for years afterwards? They don't really say. I can't tell. But then he like went to some like hill and floated up into the sky, right?
Wait, at the Last Supper, or when he like popped in to say like hi to Mary Magdalene and everything.
After he came back from the dead and he went and like had dinner with his friends, after death, and they were like touching his hands and like examining his wounds and all that stuff.
Doubting Thomas.
Why else has been on the podcast? But did you guys take a religious term that I'm not aware of?
Yeah,
we all found the Lord.
Conversions here.
Oh, we all found the Lord.
Yep, we just all found.
Or should I say, he found us?
Kyle's a hardcore evangelical.
I don't
Woody is Mormon,
a case
and I'm a
of beer
Muslim
in the house, but I can probably like rustle together enough of some other ones and make it work if that's where we're going tonight. Just
we all
religion's great to talk about. It's so interesting.
We should have all started up our own little like thing, like well, you don't call it that. Years ago, did you see where that
Christianity
they call it?
There was that
everyone wears sunglasses.
There was that preacher who was like on Reddit. They were pointing out this guy was telling people how to vote. He's like, if you go vote Democrat, you get out. Get out. You're gonna be voting Democrat in the house of the Lord, you get out. And and so this guy on Reddit literally saw this and was like, oh, okay, and reported him to the IRS. and he's got it all edited together. So you see the whole process. He's like, so I reported him to the IRS and this happened. And then it goes back to the pastor on a different sermon. He's like, we done decided to give up our tax exempt status because the United States government's not going to tell me how to run my church. And it's like, wait, yeah, they are, because you're going to pay taxes to them now. That's great. You literally just did the opposite of that because you couldn't keep your fucking mouth shut. They reported him to the IRS, and the IRS yanked his tax exempt status because he was like doing
political things,
political stuff from the pulpit. Yeah.
Really political stuff. He was like, no one in this church votes Democrat. None. You're all baby killers. If any of you vote Democrat, get out of this building. Like, it wasn't like a subtle sort of, we believe in freedom kind of.
To be fair, though, if your true belief system is that any abortion is the murder of a baby, then you could kind of like understand where he's coming from, right? Like that's not what most of us believe. I mean, I believe
no, like if
we're definitely
that's something I
babies.
totally get. If that is their belief that every abortion is a murder, that's not my belief. But if that is their belief, I totally understand why they're like up in arms and think it's the most evil thing ever.
Yeah, I don't think every abortion is a murder. Just most.
Every abortion is a murder, but I'm okay with a little murder.
That's where I stand. Like I'm okay with abortion.
Every abortion is a robbery from the taxpayers in the future.
What if we found out that like the Elon Musks were lobbying for this because they wanted a bigger workforce?
Well, first, I'd be shocked there's more than one. It's like, oh, you think that it's only one man can produce so many bad jokes?
Is Elon Musk? Is the internet turning on Elon Musk? I feel like I've observed that. Yeah, the internet is just.
I like him when he's funny. I don't have any vested interest in
We'll see how much they turn on him once he's eliminated all the bots, though. We'll see like how much of the internet turning on him was even real people.
Is that still going on? I thought that deal is not happening anymore.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I don't know. I know that his Tesla stock is really tanked.